I'm filming this a little bit later in the day than I normally would. And by a little bit, I mean like significantly later. I feel like the lighting might be kind of weird, but it's whatever. Hey y'all, I'm back and I have more creepy stories that I'm super nervous to read. These are all about Ubers, like scary Ubers people have had. I don't know, I feel like some of these might be funny, but like also traumatizing. There's like 35 stories. I'm sure some will be long, some will be short. Let's get into it. The driver didn't want to wait in traffic, so he drove up onto the sidewalk. We all screamed at him to get back on the road as he continued to drive down the sidewalk while pedestrians ran out of the way. He told us that it wasn't a sidewalk, it was an Uber lane. It was a miracle he didn't actually run anybody over. If it gets me there faster, I mean 5 stars. My Uber was new to the area and attempted to drive down a railroad track. I asked what he was doing and he said, "Oh, sorry. I don't care. I'm so sorry. I don't care if you're new to an area. How do you mistake a railroad track for a road?" They drove over my foot as I was trying to get my luggage into the car. I feel like that would happen to me. Tried to sleep with me. I had to call Uber and report them. I had a guy, let me tell you a story. I had an Uber one time. I was Ubering maybe 5 minutes. I was just drinking, so I'm not gonna drive. My Uber driver told me over and over and over again how beautiful, attractive, whatever the fuck I was, and told me about a million times that I should model, and then tried to tell me he was like a photographer and that I should model for him. Not the same, I totally know that, but still creepy, and I think about that all the time. Said I looked just like their ex-girlfriend and asked me out to their favorite restaurant in a follow-up text message, their favorite or their ex's favorite, because I feel like that's a very important detail. Rode in the front due to number of passengers. She shifted into park every time we were stopped at a light, then proceeded to tell us about her abusive exes and about how she now carries a loaded handgun in her purse, which was by my feet, because if she ever runs into the last ex, she's gonna shoot him. Oh my god. Picked apart everything I was wearing, calling me trashy, lazy for still being in pajamas. You don't even want to know what I look like half the time I'm Ubering. They would hate me. Asked me if I liked cocaine within the first few minutes, like didn't even like vet you, just didn't even care. Then proceeded to tell me about how much he loved it, including a story about when he had once done crack and tried to throw himself out of a window because he felt so depressed afterwards. Then tried to get my number. This Uber driver was extremely curious about my life. He asked me if I was partying or drunk. He asked me if I lived by myself, new in town, and started talking about how he liked Indian women. It was very uncomfortable. That night I slept with a hammer under my pillow. It was so scary. No, I would do the same. And there's an emergency outside. I don't know if you can hear that. I feel like I've seen multiple things recently about women sleeping with hammers under their pillow. I'm gonna start doing that. I just feel like I should, I don't know. They drove with their knee, even after I asked them to please not to. No, because I would have to get out of the car. I am such an anxious passenger, it's like not even funny. If they were driving with their knees or on their phone or anything, I would have to like cancel the ride and get out because I would be so scared. Got pulled over for speeding and no seatbelt. Proceeded to then say he's gotten 4 seatbelt tickets and won't ever wear one. Why? Just why though? I just don't even understand why. My Uber picked up someone else instead of me. When I called him to tell him that wasn't me, he put the passenger on the phone and kept driving to the destination. I had to cancel it and I think he dropped the passenger off at some random spot in town. They wouldn't refund me the ride either. Them handing the phone to the passenger is honestly so funny. She was texting and driving and yelled "fuck" as she almost hit the curb while entering the interstate, and she wasn't wearing a seatbelt. We were stoned and terrified the whole time. No, because I don't understand the seatbelt, again, the phone, again, and being high at the same time, I would have to jump out the window. Like, what is it called? Duck and roll, bitch. Tug and roll? I don't know. The woman turned into the wrong lane going directly against traffic, and then she got lost completely despite having GPS. Oh, I have a story. It was a bit unnerving to say the least. Dude, I was in Dallas in like early February. I was Ubering from Dallas to like Irvine, whatever. So I get into my Uber. First of all, I was staying in a hotel that had like a circle, like driveway thing. She pulled in the complete wrong way, so she's just like in everyone's way. I get in the car, she's like doing this weird reverse thing because I think she realizes she pulled in at the wrong area. So then we start driving. She misses the freeway, I'm not even joking, 5 times. We're taken down back roads and back roads and back roads because she kept missing the entrance to the freeway. And it wasn't on purpose because she'd be like, ooh, like every time. How do you have a GPS in front of you and you still can't make it? I'm sorry, and you also like you're an Uber driver in Dallas and you don't know where the freeway is? But it took me almost double the time to get there. I was like, I'm pissed. And also she didn't have the air conditioning on. It was so hot in that car and I had on a leather jacket and I'm too big. That was my own fault for not saying anything. I'm too big of a pussy to be like, can you turn the air on? Because she was already driving terribly and I was like terrified. I don't know. And so I'm not gonna be like, excuse me, while you miss the interstate again, will you please turn on the air conditioning? I couldn't distract her. She was already distracted. Anyways, took an Uber from my house to the airport for a work trip, got a call from my boss on the way in. Driver screamed at me to hang up because he couldn't hear his podcast on his headphones. My boss, who heard the insane rant, told the entire team to switch to Lyft or taxis after that. Honestly, great boss. Uber driver was visibly drunk. Not blackout drunk, but it was obvious he was having a hard time staying in his lane. He kept veering over the yellow line, then would jerk the wheel the other way, nearly running us off the road a few times. He also had an open can of Bud Light in his cup holder. I had him drop me off a few blocks from my actual destination because I didn't want to die that night. Rated him 1 star and reported him. I'm not sure if anything came from it. My air conditioning is going to turn on, so I'm going to go turn that off. No, because that would be the end for me. I would never again. I think I would actually call Uber. Like, I would make sure I talked to someone instead of just rating them on, wait, what did you say? Oh, you reported him. Okay, I mean, but I would call every day, be like, did he get fired? Please. Told me gleefully that she brake checks people who tailgate her, then proceeded to do it multiple times. I'd have a panic attack. Kept talking nonstop and was asking me sexual questions and kept trying to show me music videos on his phone while driving, and drove me to the wrong location and ended up charging me more. Immediately gave him 1 star. Didn't acknowledge me at all and had some song screaming, just suck that dick and eat that pussy on loop, and was Facebooking while driving. That's okay. Stopped on the highway to read road signs. During rush hour, more than once. Like, completely stopped to read. Have you ever driven a car before? How did you get your license? I was taking an Uber home from the airport. The ride was perfect, and he even insisted on dropping my baggage at the front door. Awesome. He then asked if he could use the restroom really quick, and of course I obliged. He wasn't in there for more than 3 minutes, but when I went to wash my hands after, I found my bathroom destroyed. Shit was all over the toilet seat and just fucking everywhere. I really wish he would have just taken more than a minute and shat like a normal human being, but the dude must have had a leaky butthole because there was shit on my walls too. A 1-star review was the bare minimum, I think. I would call Uber and be like, you gotta clean this up. You have to hire some. I'm not cleaning your Uber driver shit off my wall. I'm so sorry. She was simultaneously driving for Lyft and picked up another passenger completely out of our way. Then proceeded to brag about how she had picked up some high school kids earlier and they had their destination set to the liquor store where she bought them liquor. Why would you admit that? She had 3 kids with her, 1 in the front, probably 14, a preteen in the back, and a toddler no older than 3, also in the back with no car seat. She was also driving erratically and reeked of weed. Are you allowed to have your kid? I feel like you're not allowed to have any other people in the car, because what if you had like a pickup that was like the max people that would fit in your car? Okay, and we're like on 24. We are doing this quick. He refused to acknowledge my presence and kept asking my husband if he thought it was fine that he, the driver, wanted to take a second wife because he believed men should be happy. My husband was not about that at all and said if he wanted a second wife, she deserved a second husband. And the driver flipped out and told us that men deserve more than women and that she should be fulfilled by taking care of his children. It was incredibly surreal, uncomfortable, and demeaning. So yeah, a big complaint was filed. Dude, one time my friend went on a date. I don't know if I'm not gonna say her name. It's fine. Because I was like, I don't know if she wanted me to say this, but anyways. My friend went on a date one time and the guy literally said to her straight up, I don't know how they got into the conversation, I don't remember, it was like a while ago, but literally asked her, you really think women deserve rights? And was dead fucking serious. Men like that do exist, I hope you know that. Immediately when I got in the car, I was hit by an incensey smell that was so strong it gave me an instant headache. She spent the whole ride trying to get me to join her essential oil downline in a well-known oil MLM. I declined politely and then firmly, I thought. We got to my destination and my head was pounding. She stopped and locked the doors. She told me she wasn't going to let me out until I gave her my email address. I kind of chuckled and unlocked my door and she immediately locked it again. Then she pressed child lock so that when I tried to open the door, it didn't budge. I was shocked and scared and she repeated that I had to give her my email address and handed me a notepad and pen. I made up one and dashed out of there, immediately reported her. That's really scary. Like, actually, like, I know it's just all about an MLM, but I don't care if someone locks me in their car, I'm bringing the hammer out from under my pillow. The guy fell asleep at the wheel and rear-ended a car in front of us, then tried to flee, then left me on the side of the freeway. In the end, I got a $500 credit from Uber. I don't think it's worth it. I'm so sorry, I don't think that's worth it. He fell asleep at the wheel and then tried to run away. That seems unreal. He hit a cyclist who was taking home a pizza slice, didn't help him up, didn't buy him a new pizza slice. He also ran a bunch of red lights and asked for 5 stars at the end. That's bold. I was on a work trip in another city, riding to my first shift at around 5 a.m. We were having a casual conversation and he asked whether I had a boyfriend. I said yes. As we're pulling into the empty parking lot, no one else was there yet, and I was trying to figure out which of the buildings I was supposed to be in, he asked if I would go get a coffee with him. I said no, and I told him I thought it was the building straight ahead, but he turned the other way and started circling the parking lot. He said something about no one else being there yet, so I should just get coffee with him. Oh, like in the moment? I said no again and asked him to just stop and let me out and I would find my way by foot. He let me out, but then pulled into a parking spot and lingered there until sometime after I found my way in. When I got into the car, he immediately yelled in a stern voice, "State your account ID." I take Uber almost daily, and I know drivers like to ask for your name, but I was so taken aback by the aggressive yelling. No, I would be like crying, I think. I would cry and then I'd get out. Oh, that wasn't even the end. As soon as I got into the car, I was met with the most awful smell I've ever experienced in my whole life. It was like something died in the car. I had to hold my breath throughout the 20-minute ride. Then he drove me to the wrong place 2 times. By the second time, I just decided to walk to my destination because I was so vexed by the smell. Before I got out, after sitting in the car in silence, he yelled, "Rate 5 stars." He wouldn't unlock the door until I agreed. I would just get out and then, oh yeah, they said yep, 1 out of 5. I would just be like, okay, sure, and then get out. He drove me around the fucking planet because he missed road signs and somehow got on the highway. I looked up and was horrified. I asked him why we got on the highway and he said because he couldn't turn the other way because there was too much traffic. The trip was 15 minutes, but took an hour and 2 minutes. No, it was insane. They tried to charge me for the whole ride too. Oh, the way I would be, oh my God. He drove the wrong way down a busy downtown 4-lane street on a Friday evening, all while telling us he just came from the local comedy club, which I know happens to have a 2-drink minimum on Fridays. I was terrified. How do people do that? Texted and drove, messed up simple GPS directions 3 times. It's 6 turns to my house and she fucked it up so bad. It was wild. Wait, shut up. Said, "Get in, bitch," as I was walking up to the car. Then when I got in the back, he started mouthing off to the guy beside him at a red light. Told him he's fucked and gave him 1 star. The "get in, bitch" is insane. Decided to smoke a cigarette with all the windows rolled up. Okay. And finally, 35, he swiped my boyfriend's truck when he dropped us off. I knew he was coming too close and yep, scraped the side of it. My boyfriend was so mad, but Uber paid out, thank God. Okay, so not necessarily scary, but honestly like traumatizing. But which I feel like is kind of synonymous with, is synonymous a word? I don't know, with scary. Like I just feel like if I had any of these experiences, I would not take Uber for like at least a year. But that's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any weird, scary Uber stories, I guess, that you would like to share with me in the class, me in the community, I don't know why I just said that, I will have my subreddit link down below. I'm very lucky to have not had like scary Ubers. Like the guy who was like telling me I was pretty, it's like whatever. I mean, it was like weird at the moment and I was like, please take me to my destination. I was a little freaked out, but it really wasn't that bad. I've luckily never had anything like too terrifying happen in an Uber. Fingers crossed that it never happens, like knock on wood. But all right, I'm gonna go. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye. I know I said in my last video I didn't have anything to ramble about and I feel like I still don't. I haven't really done much, honest. Oh, well, I guess I could tell you this. Me always, every time I say I have nothing to ramble about and then I think of something. I had to switch off my Vyvanse. I guess I could tell you the story. I don't know. Why not? I went to this thing in downtown Phoenix last weekend, I think it was, or maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. And I had taken my Vyvanse that morning and I was feeling great. It always makes me feel like great, like throughout the day. But I had noticed like the couple days prior to that I was kind of coming down from it sooner than I normally would. Like my body, I think, was just getting too used to the dose. And so Friday, we're like at this thing and then we go back to my friend's place to like drink a little bit, wait for like the main act because it was like a March Madness. It was like Renee Rapp was performing and I was so excited to see her. So we go back to my friend's place and I just completely crash. Like I felt like an absolute zombie. I did not feel like a person. I could not function. I could barely keep my eyes open. I couldn't talk. And it was the weirdest thing. It was such a terrible feeling. And I was like, I don't know why, like this is happening. And I like had taken another Vyvanse with me because that had been happening like the last 2 days. And it wasn't that bad though the last 2 days. I don't know, maybe because I was at home and I wasn't like around people, so it didn't feel as bad. But I like took the second Vyvanse, but I had to leave because I had plans like for that night too that were like separate from that. And so I had to leave because I was like so exhausted. I was like holding my vape, sorry. I was like so exhausted and whatever. I left, I went to my friend's house that I was going out with that night. I had taken the second Vyvanse, and by the time I got to my friend, I felt perfectly fine. So I was so upset because I missed Renee Rapp. I had like a whole breakdown. Like I was sobbing over missing Renee Rapp. But anyways, so I told my psychiatrist all of this, and I got put on Adderall, so just like regular Adderall. And I started taking that today, and I haven't crashed yet. Like it's 6:30, like this is so late compared to when I normally film. It's 6:30 and I feel great still. Like I feel like I could still do, that's why I'm filming. Cause I have nothing else to do today and I need to do something. So I'm filming a fucking video this late. I don't even need to film today. But anyway, so I got switched to like Adderall. I'm sure my body will get used to this too, but I feel like we'll figure that out when we get there. I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go cause I am so hungry and I have leftover pork dumplings and an avocado roll. Calling my name. So I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much. See you.